Hey guys, my name is Yvette and welcome to my DIY channel, and I hope that you guys are having a great day. For today's video, I wanted to share with you how I made some Halloween cover pots out of air dry clay. So let's get started. To make this cover pot, I'm going to use this old jar from a Bath & Body Works candle, and this fits nursery pots that are up to 4 inches wide, so it's perfect. I'm going to start out by rolling out my clay, and I'm going to use Daz air dry clay for this project. Wrap the clay around the jar, and when you do this, make sure that the clay is really pressed up against the jar, and I'm using my needle tool to trim off some clay when needed. By the way, right here, make sure that your clay is overlapping because when the clay dries, you don't want it to separate. So overlapping the clay really helps stop that. You can fully cover the bottom of your jar if you want to, but I never do, so I like to take off that extra clay there. Using a modeling tool, I'm going to blend the clay that I have overlapped into each other. And then right here, I'm scraping off some of that extra clay I have on there. I'm going to finish blending everything out with some water. We have our jar fully covered, so now we can start decorating our planter. For this first planter, I'm going to make a ghost planter. I traced out this ghost from a free printable, and I'll link it for you guys down in the description box. And then I wanted my little ghost to be in a vampire costume, so I sketched in a little cape around him, and I'm going to use this as my stencil for this project. I rolled out some more clay, and then I placed my little ghost on top, and then I traced it out. I'm going back in with my needle tool to outline my ghost a little bit better. Now I'm adding the little string for the cape onto what would be like the neck area of the ghost. I rolled out 2 little balls for the eyes and then 1 for the mouth, and I'm attaching them using some slip. I wanted to give my little guy a jack-o'-lantern trick-or-treat bag, so I rolled out a small coil of clay for the handle. I made a little circle for the actual jack-o'-lantern. And then I added in 2 little arms holding onto his trick-or-treat bag. I think my little guy is looking super cute, so now I can attach him onto the planter. I'm painting some slip onto my planter where I'm going to place my little ghost, and then I'm just going to stick him on top. You could be done here with the planter, but I didn't want like the back and the sides to be fully empty, so I decided to add in some little bats. To make the bats, I kind of did like a big M on top and then 2 little M's on the sides, if that makes sense. And I'm attaching the bats to the planter using some slip. This is what we've got going on, and I like it, so now I'm going to set this aside to dry for a few days.
3 days later.
Here's the little ghost planter now that it's dry, and I'm going to sand it and then paint it. I'm going to seal this using Deco Arts Triple Thick Gloss Glaze. Okay guys, so just like our other planter we just did, roll out your clay and cover your jar. This looks good, so now we can move on and set this aside for a sec. For this planter, I'm going to make a little skull planter, and so I sketched out this skull by myself, and then I added in a little bow because I wanted to make it a girl, and I'm going to use this as my stencil. Roll out some more clay, place the stencil on top, and then trace it out. I'm blending out the edges with some water. I rolled out 2 circles for the eyes and I'm attaching them using some slip. I made a little triangle for the nose. And then I used some small lines of clay to make the mouth. Now I'm going to trace out the little bow. I'm adding some water to where I'm going to place my bow, and then I'm also going to use some slip to attach it. She looks good to me, so I'm ready to attach her onto the planter, and I'm going to paint some slip on the back of her, and then I'm going to place her on the planter. You could be done here and let this dry, but once again, I didn't want the sides and the back to be fully empty, so I decided I wanted to make some spiders. To make the spiders, I rolled out a thin coil of clay and then I cut it into 3 pieces. Make sure to line them up next to each other, and then I made a little flat circle and I'm going to place it on top of the 3 little lines of clay and make sure to really push it in there. You can move the little legs around to your liking, and then you can keep them long, but I decided to trim them down a little bit. And now I'm going to attach my spiders onto the planter using some slip. Okay, this looks good to me, so now I'm going to set it aside and let it dry.
2 hours later.
Here's the little skull planter dry, so now I'm going to sand it and then paint. To add the eyes onto the spiders, I'm using a dotting tool. I wanted to add some glitter onto the bow, so I'm painting on some clear Elmer's glue on the black parts, and then I'm going to sprinkle black glitter on top. I'm going to seal this using Deco Arts Triple Thick Gloss Glaze. Alright guys, that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you guys subscribe for more DIYs and stay safe, stay healthy, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!